Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Simple Money Guys podcast, where we make money simple for you. I'm Greg, and as always, I'll be joined by John and Ryan. Join us today as we discuss some of the most essential money tips that'll help you take full control of your financial future. If you haven't yet, please give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at the Simple Money Guys, and please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts. It helps us a tremendous amount.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Simple Money Guys podcast, where we keep money simple for you. As always, my name's John at Johnny Finance.
And I'm Greg, also known as the Daily Investor. Unfortunately, Ryan can't join us today, but we're going to be talking about some really cool money-saving tips. So let's just dive right into it. John, do you have anything right off the rip you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think we get a lot of questions, asking about how can we save money? How can we, create a plan to just save more money? And a lot of people are thinking, how do I save more money at the end of the month? And that's just the wrong way to think about it. You have to kind of change your mindset, and you want to save first. So that would be my biggest tip. If you want to save money, start by saving first. They say pay yourself first. So rather than spending everything you have and saving at the end, which is usually nothing, you should always pay yourself first and then spend what you have left over. I know a lot of people will automate their finances, where it's automatic saving going into their savings accounts. So that's one of the best tips that I can provide. I think a lot of people get a lot of use from that. Greg, do you have that pay yourself first mentality?
Yeah, for sure. I think nowadays with online banking and the ability to set up these automatic transfers, automatic payments, it's so easy and so convenient now. I definitely have payments set up to directly transfer to my investment accounts. Every 2 weeks, I get paid bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks, money will transfer directly from my checkings account. We talked a little bit about your different accounts in one of our earlier episodes. I think it was one of the first 10. So if you guys are interested in knowing what type of accounts you should have open, definitely go listen to that episode. But I have my paycheck come into my checking account, and then a certain amount of money going directly into my investment account, my savings account, all these different accounts that I want to do first. And I think, like you were saying, paying yourself first is such an important mentality to have, because, I know before I started setting up these automatic payments, as soon as I got my paycheck, you go by 2 weeks and you look at your money and it's all gone. There's nothing to save, just because, you thought that you could have saved that money later. But, you have to do it as soon as you get paid. It's the first thing you should do. I think it's such a great point.
Right, yeah. If you don't know where your money is going, it's just going to disappear. So if you don't have it automated, you're going to end up spending it. And that's just the reality of it. We like to, spend what we have. What's that phrase? Like, you allocate how much time you have allotted or something like that. Yeah. And it's like, if you have this amount of money, you're going to spend this money. So when you pay yourself first, you automatically take that out of the equation, and that's just going straight to your savings. So I think that's a great tip to start with.
Yeah, John, I think another important thing people can do to save money is actually start focusing on paying off their debt. We always mention, pay off the high interest debt first, because you're paying so much money in this debt that, if you can pay extra and reduce the amount of interest that you'll be paying over the long term, you'll be saving, and that's a guaranteed, if it's high interest debt, like 20 to 30% that you'll be saving. So, don't worry about investing just yet. If you are very highly leveraged and have a lot of debt, focus on paying that debt down as fast as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like what you said, is it's a guaranteed return. So when you pay off debt, let's say you have credit card debt at 20%, which we never recommend having credit card debt.
Never, ever.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say you do have credit card debt. You were in college, you racked up some credit card debt. Paying off that credit card debt at 20% return, that is a guaranteed return of 20%. That's just a no-brainer. If you have credit card debt, that's basically paying yourself a 20% return. So that is an automatic no-brainer. Whereas, some people think, I'm going to invest rather than pay off debt. Investing isn't guaranteed like paying off debt is. So I think, paying off high interest debt is just for sure a great way to save money. And we've talked about the snowball, like paying off debt with a snowball and paying off debt with avalanche methods. I won't get too deep into there, because I know we've talked about it on an episode before. But, I think, in my opinion, using the debt avalanche will save you thousands of dollars because you're paying off that highest interest. Mathematically, it is the best way to pay off debt, is the debt avalanche. So yeah, if you can pay off that high interest debt, that's definitely the low hanging fruit, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And something else I like to recommend if a friend ever comes up to me and, like, I need to be saving more money, what I always tell them is create a plan. Like, that's one of the most important things you can do. Create a plan. And this starts by, creating a system where you can track all your spending for at least a month. Honestly, maybe even more, just so you kind of get this feel of where your money's going. One of my favorite quotes, and I think I've mentioned it before, is if
I
you
know what you're
can't
gonna say.
measure
I love it.
you
Yeah.
can't manage it. And that, it's so true. You look at any successful business, they have different metrics being measured for every little detail, because it gives them the flexibility to analyze things and then create a plan moving forward.
No, I was just going to say, I completely agree. Like, if you don't know where your money is going, you're never going to be able to get a handle on it. Just like, when people want to lose weight, they're going to count their calories. They're going to count, their time at the gym. If you can't measure it, you're not going to manage it. So I love that, Greg. I wanted to backtrack where we talked about those accounts, checking and savings accounts. That was actually episode 5 of the Simple Money Guys. Where should I put my money? So that's something you guys can reference. And then also episode 10 is should you pay off debt or should you invest? We go well in depth with the avalanche and snowball method. So definitely check those 2 episodes out if you want to learn more.
Yeah, I think our first, 10, 15 episodes were very foundational knowledge. And, I'm really excited moving forward that, we're moving past the foundational things. But definitely check those out if you haven't, because those are going to be the foundation, the principles that we will use going forward from now on. So yeah, if you're tracking your money, go the extra step of breaking your purchases up into categories. So, your leisure spending, your food spending, just break it up into categories.
Yeah.
So everything that you're spending. And then at the end of your measurement period, see how much is going towards each category and, work from there. From there, you can create a budget that works for you and set saving goals. I think it's important to set those saving goals. Like we were saying before, pay yourself first and have a plan in mind where you know how much you want to save, because over 1 year it'll be this much. Have a plan on what you're saving for, whether it be your emergency fund, a down payment on a house. Have a plan in place and know how much you need to save over X amount of time.
Yeah. Having a plan is definitely going to help prepare you. Even if you have a plan and it doesn't go as you like, you're still going to kind of go on the right track, having that plan in place. I know when I was, this was even recently, I was going out to, I wasn't going out to eat. I was going to grocery stores and kind of just spending like willy-nilly. I would get, nicer foods, organic produce, whatever. And it wasn't until I was like, hold up, how much am I spending on groceries each month? I really didn't think it was going to be that much, but I looked back and like the past 2 months, I was spending $500 a month on groceries for one person by myself. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I if there was just some intentionality there, I could definitely bring that down to, $300 per month. And I think that's a great way to, again, track it, use that and find yourself a plan and just figure out those low-hanging fruits. Everyone's going to be different. Just find a plan that works for you. So, yeah, definitely create a plan if you can.
Grocery shop at Trader Joe's, the greatest grocery store in the world.
Trader Joe's is the best, honestly. I feel like they're a little bit expensive, in my opinion, a little bit.
Really? I feel like compared to a lot of my local supermarkets, they're cheaper. So,
really,
at least for me, I have a supermarket down the street, maybe like a 2-minute walk. Trader Joe's is a 15-minute train ride, and I tend to take that 15-minute train ride just to get to Trader Joe's. But I guess compare local supermarkets and see the difference. But for me, a lot of the ones around my area are very expensive, and same as you, I realized I was spending so much money on groceries, so I tried to find a way to cut that cost down.
Do you have an Aldi in New York?
I don't, but I've heard of them before.
Aldi is like my go-to. Like they're the cheapest place for sure. They cut down costs a lot. just by unique ways. Like you have to bring your own bags, and you have to like bring a quarter, bring a quarter to use a shopping cart and things like that. So I like Aldi just because it's like efficient and cheap. Also Costco, like when you buy bulk, you're gonna save a ton of money. Whether it's Costco, Sam's Club, those bulk stores we can just stock up for a month. You're gonna save a lot of money, and you can meal prep. You'll probably eat healthier, things like that. So I'm a big fan of those bulk stores.
Yeah, for sure. Like you're gonna use toothpaste, you're gonna use paper towels,
Yeah,
you're gonna use
yeah,
toilet paper.
yeah.
Why not buy them in bulk and wholesale, or from a wholesale distributor? Just makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. I also
Yeah,
saw
love it.
that on Instagram you are now tracking and posting your expenses for an entire month. How's that been going?
Yeah, it's been going good. It's keeping me accountable. I could just spend willy-nilly by myself and no one would know. But when I'm sharing all my expenses on my Instagram stories, people like seeing that, and they're helping me, I'm helping them. So it's been a cool little project. I'm only 3 days into this experiment, so I'll let you know how it goes, throughout the month. But so far so good. It'll hold me to that budget that I can hopefully save, and that's actually a great segue in. If you have a accountability partner, whether it's your friend or your mom or your dad, I think if you can have a plan or have a goal with a friend that'll hold you accountable, you can save a ton of money by just talking to them like each week. Okay, how did you do this week? How much did you spend? Things like that. And it's kind of like a game, so
Yeah.
we all like to win games. So gamify it if you want to.
Yeah, my favorite word in the world is accountability. And
Accountability,
it just goes so much deeper than saving money, going to the gym, losing weight like you were saying, kicking any bad habits. I have a terrible habit of biting my nails. And I was actually editing one of the previous episodes and I saw, okay, I'm just biting my nails the whole time. So like I really need to cut this habit. So, I went to my roommates and I'm like, anytime you see me biting my nails, like call me
Smack
out.
'em.
Don't let it
Smack
smack me in the back of the neck, let me know. So the whole act of accountability is huge. Another
Yeah.
thing I wanted to talk about is impulse purchases. We all made them. We've all done it in our lives at some point.
Very true.
But there's a great rule called the 30-day rule. If you want to purchase something, wait 30 days. And if at the end of the 30 days you still want to purchase it, and financially it makes sense. Don't go out and buy a McLaren if you shouldn't.
30 days later.
I mean, of course, there's going to be some things that you're going to want no matter when.
Yeah.
But they have to make sense. If it's something reasonable that you want, wait 30
Right,
days.
right.
And if you want it at the end of 30 days, go ahead and make that purchase.
Yeah. Also, there's a good chance that item might be on sale 30 or 60 days from then. Seasons come in and out of style, especially for clothes. I know, if you just wait 30 to 60 days, most likely that item will probably be on sale. So if you have the discipline to wait, I definitely recommend you can save a lot of money.
That does remind me. I do want to talk about, a little clothing shopping tip that I have.
Yeah.
So, speaking about sales, so I do my winter clothes shopping for the next year in the summer of the previous year, and my summer clothes shopping in the previous year as well. So,
Genius. Yeah.
more for the simple stuff that is never going to go out of style. It just makes a lot of sense because it doesn't matter, and you'll always get those flash sales, those clearance sales. So you could save a lot of money doing that, and just be ahead of things.
Yeah, totally agree. Get your shopping done early. Do it the season before. You'll save probably 50% or more on those clearance sales. I also just wanted to go back to those impulse buys. So I've heard James Clear, who's the author of Atomic Habits, he says to create resistance on those kind of impulse things. So he one of his recommendations was if you're buying a lot of stuff off Amazon, like just those one-click things from Amazon. If you're buying a lot of items just on an impulse, create resistance so that it's not as easy to buy it. So after you've shopped on Amazon, just log out of your account. Just do that so you're not always logged in. It creates some resistance, to sign in, or even better, take your card off of file. So every time you want to buy it, you have to manually input your card. So it just kind of creates that resistance. It's like, do I really want this? Do I really want to put my card in and buy this thing off Amazon? So yeah, if you have problems with impulse buying, create as much resistance as you can, so it kind of pushes you away from those purchases.
Yeah, Amazon makes it so easy to purchase
They make it
things.
too easy.
You
Too
don't even
easy.
need to enter your security code, and they do that for a reason. They pay extra money to the credit systems to not have to require you to enter your security or your PIN number for the sole purpose of knowing that more people are going to make purchases. So I love that tip. I love removing the card. And another thing is never memorize your credit card number. I know so many people that have it memorized, and or at least don't memorize it and make a lot of if you want to memorize it, but it removes that friction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've hit on a lot of good money saving things. How about we transition into kind of like some easier, maybe more fun money saving tips? I know one thing that I've always done is just carry a water bottle with me everywhere I go. I never want to pay for water. I never want to buy water bottles. I don't really even drink anything besides water. I don't know, Greg, are you like, do you
I'm
drink
not. I'm
pop or
the
anything?
same.
Or?
Just water all the time.
Yeah.
I used to drink a lot of like juices and sodas and everything, but for health reasons, and just wanting to stay in shape, I just drink water. But having that refillable water bottle is actually huge, and it's good for the environment. So the Simple Money guys are all for the environment.
It's honestly, it's like a triple win. Like you save money, it's good for the environment, and you're like saving calories. Like it's better for your health. It's just a no-brainer to just carry around a water bottle, drink water. Even if you have a Brita filter, I fill up my tap water with the Brita filter, and then that filters the water, and it's great. So that's one of my just easy tips to save some money right there.
Yeah, you just reminded me. I definitely need to replace my Brita filter. I think it's been more than 6
It's
months.
blinking red, isn't it? It's blinking red.
Everything's just starting to taste like tap water that runs through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think another quick, easy tip. You've mentioned this in previous episodes. If you're planning to live somewhere, consider living with a roommate or multiple roommates. You save a lot of money. Studio apartments in New York can go upwards of $2,000, but if you're living with a couple of people, your cost for month for rent can be, $1,500, $1,600. So definitely look into living with people, living with friends.
Yeah, I mean, we all know housing is our biggest expense, and so the easiest way to save a lot of money is just by getting a roommate. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I can't do roommates, I did that in college, I'm not doing it again. Like, what's stopping you? I mean, it's just, I know obviously like people with families and stuff, you might not want roommates, but it is the easiest way to save $500 to $1,000 a month if you can just get a roommate or get a few roommates. So I think that's a big tip for sure. Another fantastic tip that I've personally tried before and done successfully is to shop your insurance rates. I would say at least once a year. So we have car insurance, homeowners insurance, rental insurance. Health insurance is probably provided by your work, but look at your insurances that you're paying for and just shop around once a year. Insurance companies will be willing to give you a discount if you say, hey, I'm thinking about moving insurance places. What's the best offer you can give me? They'll be willing to work with you as long as you call. It's almost like, negotiating your internet or cable bill. They want you to stay. Like, they want you to stay with as a customer with them. So as long as you make that call, it might take, a few hours on the phone, but it could be $100 per hour task just by calling them up and saying, hey, like, what can you do for me? Or, go to another insurance company if they have better rates. So that's definitely a good thing to do that most people are afraid to do. So.
Yeah, a lot of these, companies benefit more from the total number of customers they have than each individual profit margin they're making off of each person. So they definitely see more benefit in the numbers than, or the number of customers than the actual specific numbers that you're paying. So you definitely have a lot of flexibility there. Especially with things like car insurance. As you get older, naturally your car insurance is going to go down, because you've proven to these companies that you're a safe driver. I mean, this is assuming you don't get tickets every week and you're not getting in too many accidents and everything. But as you get older, that interest rate or that car insurance rate will naturally just decrease. So check in with your auto insurance and just see if you qualify for lower rates. Another big thing I think and this can be its own episode in the future. And it's a little bit of a bigger project than everything else we were talking about. Looking into refinancing your home. So if I mean, there's a lot to talk about and a lot to unpack there. First off, if you're, in the first few years of your mortgage, you tend to, mortgages are definitely interest heavy in the first half. So you might only be paying interest in the first few years. So definitely consider that. And there's a lot of calculations to be done. But you can try to refinance your house for a lower rate. It's going to extend the amount of time of your mortgage. So you'll usually refinance to a new 30-year plan with a lower interest rate, bringing your monthly costs down. But there's, again, a lot to consider. And I think, we should have a whole episode dedicated to this in the future. But definitely look into some of the numbers as far as refinancing your home.
Yeah, there's a lot of great strategies to lower your interest rate, lower your monthly payment, things like that. So definitely, I would like to have a whole episode on that as well.
Yeah, we could definitely dive deep into it because it's not as simple as, let me just refinance and I'll get a lower interest rate. You might end up paying more over a longer period of time if you do it incorrectly.
And there's costs to refinance.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot to it there. For some people it'll be beneficial, for others it may not. So stay tuned for that episode, I guess, in the future.
Yeah. And I love it. And also, one last tip I wanted to mention is that if you have a hobby, try and find a hobby that produces rather than consumes. So, for example, if your hobby is golf, a lot of people like golf. I like golf. But that is more of a consumption hobby. Whereas if you're maybe, making wine or, brewing your own beer, that's more of a producing hobby. And I think that's a little bit more valuable as a hobby. I'm not hating on golf players or anyone who wants to do a hobby that's like whatever, but it's the difference between watching Netflix and creating YouTube videos. I think there is a definite opportunity there when your hobbies are producing rather than consuming. I'm not saying you're going to make money off of it or anything.
Yeah, there's definitely potential there. And, we're not telling you to cut out all your hobbies. Obviously, pursue your hobbies.
Right.
But do these things in addition, because you never know. I also didn't know you're a big golfer, John. We might have to have a Simple Money Guys golf outing.
No, not a big golfer, but it's the summertime, so I always like to go out and have a good time. So
yeah, I haven't been out this season yet, but I've been trying really hard. But I do enjoy golf. I'm not good, but I enjoy.
It's fun. Yeah.
I enjoy playing. But with that, should we transition into some simple money tips for this week?
Yeah. Greg, let's hear your simple money tip.
Yeah, obviously this episode was pretty much just all tips, but I'll go with my favorite one, which is to, measure everything, measure as much as possible. I'm a big statistics guy. I like to, see every single metric possible. That way it just gives you so much more power to make changes in your life because you know exactly, statistically, numerically, exactly how much, not even just money, but like how much of your time or how much of your money is going somewhere. So my big thing is, measuring as well as planning and scheduling.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And there's a quote that I heard. It's like, if you want to save more money, track your spending. If you want to earn more money, track your time. I think that's a great quote. There's a reason why Amazon, Google, and Apple are such huge companies. They track every single data point in existence. So data is the new currency. So if you're not tracking your data, if you're not tracking your spending, your consumption, things like that, you're really missing out on some big wins there. So that's a great simple money tip.
Data is so important that a majority of Google's revenue comes from your data. You as a person that they sell to advertising. It's the new oil, it's the new gold. Like, it is so important these days. So definitely, and if you look at like any sports, like the new sabermetrics in baseball and everything. I'm not sure if you're a big baseball fan. There's just so many new statistics coming out in every sport because people are realizing the more you measure, the more you could do. The
more accurate you can predict how they're going to do and how. I love it. I also, that reminds me of, do you remember watching Sports Science as a kid?
Oh, loved it.
Wasn't that so cool? It was like the coolest thing on Sports Center. It's like, Sports Science, we're going to see how fast they run through this, door or whatever. And it's just like,
That was the Ray
super
Lewis
cool
episode.
thing.
I was going to say my favorite
yeah.
episode is Ray Lewis running through a door at the
Yeah.
power of like a ram.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, Tyreek Hill takes off as fast as a real cheetah. It's like, whoa, it's crazy. But love statistics, data, all that. Definitely track as much as you can. So going into my simple money tip, I think the best thing you can do is surround yourself with a tribe of people that you're trying to be like. So if you want to save more money, join a Facebook group that, cuts coupons or that's frugal, If you want to lose weight, join a Facebook group that, people are working out and tracking their weight. And it's just really that tribe atmosphere. The people you hang out with are the most influential people in your life. So it's something like you are the average of the 5 most people you hang out with the most. So,
Yeah, I love that one.
I think I may have mentioned this on a previous episode, but definitely surround yourself with the right people and you're going to go the right direction. So that's definitely one of my biggest simple money tips.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. Like, even in college or, living with roommates, you realize that the things you say, like everything, your behaviors, your mannerisms mimic that of your roommates. And,
It's so
just,
true, yeah.
It's human instinct, it's human nature to, blend in with the environment that you're put in. So great tip. I think it makes a lot of sense. If you're trying to save money, surround yourself with, cost conscious people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'll be on a good path forward. So,
I think we covered a lot of great tips for this week. Like we were mentioning previously, there's a lot of great foundational knowledge in some of the earlier episodes. So, if we referred to certain things, definitely refer to those older episodes. But I think that about wraps us up for this week. As always, we are the Simple Money Guys, making money simple for you. I'm Greg, also known as the Daily Investor.
And I'm John at Johnny Finance. Thank you guys so much for listening, and tune in next week for another great episode of the Simple Money Guys podcast.
Thank you everybody for listening. As always, give us a follow on Instagram at the Simple Money Guys. Subscribe to us on YouTube and be sure to tune in because we have new episodes coming every week.